Hey guys, Andy back here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you part 3 of the Eldritch Omens box set, How to Paint playlist. This time we are finishing off the Eldar side of the box. We've already released our Autok video and our Eldar Ranger video. They were earlier in the week. Now it's time for the beautiful new Shroud Runner bikes. These are large Eldar jet bikes that are crewed by 2 Eldar Rangers, and these are super fun to paint. I thoroughly enjoyed it, so much so that I managed to order myself a second box set, so I'm going to double up the Eldar side that I've already got, and I'm super excited for that tomorrow, so I can get stuck in. So yeah, stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so here is the model prepped and ready to begin painting. Once again, I have assembled it, I have glued it to its stand so it's not going to fall off, and I've sprayed it black and then gave it a zenithal of grey Seer like I have for everything else in this project. The first thing we're going to do is use the black Templar contrast, and if you look at the artwork for these pieces, you can see there are certain details on the bikes that are black. The barrels of the underslung cannon, the actual fusillade of the bike itself, so all the underneath, and a few more small bits of detail. So if you don't know where those pieces are, you can always check the reference pictures to find them, and then once you do, make sure you get all of those pieces with a nice coat of contrast black Templar. When you have all the black done, it should look something like this. These are all the bits and pieces that I could find from the reference picture that's meant to be black. And once you have done that, it's time to move on to the most prevalent color on the miniature, which is the Blood Angels Red contrast. And apart from the engine nacelle bit at the back, every other part, everything else that is white, will go red with the Blood Angels Red contrast. So take your time, apply this like you would with any other contrast. Basically slather it on, make sure it doesn't pull away any excess, and let it do its thing, settling into all the recesses. I know the big canopy part of the front can be quite scary to apply contrast to. Contrast generally doesn't like these smooth areas, but don't forget that we'll be shading and layering up this bit later on, so make it as smooth as possible, but don't freak out or panic if it's not exactly perfect. My one definitely didn't turn out perfect, but I'm really pleased with the end result. So like I said, take your time, follow the direction of the front part. So I pulled the contrast constantly towards me. Next, it's the Leadbelcher base paint, and this is just for that nacelle bit at the back of the miniature. And surprisingly enough, that's actually the last detail bit before we shade the miniature. That's basically all of the base coats on. These bikes only have 3 colors, which is what we're at now. So unfortunately, I don't know why I didn't film what color I was using, but this is actually a Druchi Violet shade. It's the same shade that I used over the Rangers from the video previously in the week. So yeah, Druchi Violet all over the entire bike, every nook and cranny. And make sure you get a nice smooth coat on this, and then wait for that to dry before we move on. Okay guys, while that shade is drying, I thought I'd take this opportunity to chat to you a little bit. So first of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to all you guys who've supported me so far on the 365 project. For anyone who doesn't know what the 365 project is, it is me, Andy, with the brand Mediocre Hobbies, going full time into social media and YouTube across this year. All I can say is we're about 2 weeks into the project, and our subscriber count has gone from the low 3,000s to mid 7,000 in 2 weeks. That is not possible without you guys. I just want to say a huge thank you for that. If you guys haven't already joined the 365 project, it's very simple. Just subscribe to the channel, like the videos that come out, and give them a watch. That will help me out immensely. If you see real value in what I do and you learn something from it and you want to support me even more, there's links below to my Patreon. You can get involved that way. I would love to have you as the newest member of the community. And yeah, I just honestly can't thank you guys enough. So keep it up, keep watching, keep liking, commenting, and subscribing, and let's get back to the video. While that shade was drying, I took the opportunity to base the miniature. If you want to know how I based this, I'll put a link up on the screen here. That is my how to base Martian bases scheme. So click on that if you want to see how I did it. Next, it's time to layer up the red. So we're going for the base paint Mephiston Red. Nice, smooth, beautiful, vibrant red. And we are going to use this to layer up all of the armor panels across the bike. This is of course going to be the slowest part of the painting process. So you want to take your time and make sure that you are getting those nice smooth coats across all of these beautiful flat panels on this bike. As you can see, I'm turning the model, not the brush, to get the paint to go in the right direction. Always painting towards myself, minimizes brush strokes, and gives you a nice flat coat. So there's just one small part of this. I was going to cut the video here, but I knew you guys would want to see some of me layering up the canopy part of the bike. So I'm of course going to show you me doing that. And it's pretty much exactly the same as this little wing piece on the side. Just load up your brush with the Mephiston Red and follow those beautiful lines along the front. So there are obviously these bulging parts, 3 different versions, one long one in the middle and 2 to either side. So I like to layer those in first. Gives me some framework for the actual main part of it, where I need to leave the shadow and all those recesses. So with that bit in place, I know that when I paint this bit, I just go to there, leaving a line between those 2 parts, and then follow that dark line that you can see through the middle bulge part, whatever the way you want to call that. As you can see, I'll bring the brush right up to that, and then pull down, keeping that nice shadow line in place. And when you've done say 2 coats of nice clean red, your bike should look something like this. It's already looking fantastic. I'm super pleased with how it's looking already. Next thing I want to do is use Wild Rider Red, and this is to give a very, very light dry brush. Now I know you guys are screaming inside dry brushing something this smooth and this flat, but it's okay. We're just trying to catch the raised edges and just add a touch more color to the red and not leave it just quite so flat. So as you can see, there's barely any paint on my brush, and I'm just going back and forth, just catching some of the edges. It just adds in that beautiful bit of extra texture. This is a stage you can of course leave out if you're not comfortable with that, but I think it added something quite nice to the miniature. Next we're going to move over to Ironbreaker, and this is just to layer up that engine nacelle bit at the back again, leaving the purple in all the recesses, just any of the raised areas. The black parts on the miniature I'm actually leaving as are. I think they look fantastic already. That's just a contrast black with the purple shade on top. I'm not going to bother touching off them. No one's going to notice them, and I think they look great as it is. So I applied a transfer from the kit. If you want to know how I apply transfers, I use Microsol and Microset. There will be a link on the top of the screen now to a video on how I apply transfers. And then I moved over to Stormshield, and I'm going to use this to basically add a little bit of vibrancy into the red. It's going to make it a touch shiny and also going to protect that transfer even more. And I just apply this to all the flat areas of the red armor panels. Once again, it's going to look kind of streaky and sticky because it's a varnish. But once it dries, all of those streaks go away and it's basically completely clear. It just adds a little bit of vibrancy into the red. Like you can see the difference between the red on the canopy part now and maybe those little wing parts. And that's basically what I'm going for. I just want to add just a little bit more sheen into the bike. You know, like motorcycle paint wouldn't be a flat red, it would be a little bit glossy. So that's the kind of look that I was going for. So as you can see, there's those streaks I was talking about. But cut to 2 minutes later when that gloss has dried, and the bike is going to look something like this. And there is the completed Eldar jet bike. I'm delighted with how this turned out. I took absolutely no time at all to get the bike painted. And now we're going to cut to the Rangers on the back of it. Obviously I didn't show you guys how to paint the Rangers in this video. It's exactly the same process as my Eldar Ranger video from earlier in the week. There'll be a link on the top of the screen now on how I painted those. So yeah, just follow along to that and then stick the guys on the back afterwards. And yeah, this is your result. An absolutely beautiful Eldar jet bike. And yeah, now it's time for the grand reveal.